remember a time when the SEC was in this much of a debate with an entire country. And no, I'm not talking about the Securities and Equities Commission. What I'm talking about is the Southeastern Conference. And that Southeastern Conference taking shots from the ACC about y'all had 4 teams eliminated in the regional that was host sites. Brother, your conference champion, along with your host site in Clemson, also lost. It also lost. The North Carolina team in Oklahoma got swept by a regional seed that you're clowning on in the regular season. Context in baseball, for sure, never seems to find the light of day when we're talking about it from casuals. People who weren't with you and I on a post-game show at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time during the midweek didn't exist. But it's not the only shots that the SEC's been taking. Football, they've been taking them too. Now, I do think that Greg Sankey has had about enough of it in these past couple of weeks. He's been firing back and saying, listen, all this shit y'all talking is becoming a little bit much. You're the ones out here in other conferences, Big Ten, ACC, that are canceling games against SEC opponents. Why? Why? I look at this entire situation and say, guys, people can be up, down, left, or right about the SEC. It is what it is. But it should show you, too, how much people love to see not only the SEC, but teams inside the SEC to fail. They say, oh, your conference this, your conference that. But every time the SEC does something wrong in their eyes, they're always there to clown it. The funny thing is when it's on the field, like if in football, well, Clemson was the ACC champion. The ACC champion. And they got beat by Georgia, Clemson, and Texas in football this past year. This year in baseball, they were a host regional site, and they got eliminated by 3-17 Kentucky in the own regional, and 3-17 being that was their record in conference. It's so interesting to me. Like, I see all of them out here clowning. Clowning what exactly? You can call me a conference guy. You can say I just love the SEC. You can call it whatever it is. And look, Vandy, Texas, Ole Miss, all lost. They all lost. Sounds good. But context needs to be added. Oh, and by the way, Florida State got taken. Think about this. Guys, a lot of you watched SEC baseball this year. Florida State got taken to the brink of war by a head coachless Mississippi State. I think in sports right now, it's the year of equality. The era that we're in right now in all of sports is about the era of equality. And I think it's the stupidest thing ever. The reason I think it's the stupidest thing ever is because you literally play the game of sport to find out who is not your equal. Very much a shame. Very, very much a shame. But one thing is for sure. The South will rise again. I just think that you play in the toughest conference in baseball. I think you play in the toughest conference maybe in basketball right now. And I still think that you play easily the toughest conference in college baseball. And in women's basketball, I think it could be said the same thing too. The lion does not worry about the opinions of sheep. And if you think that you're a lion or you think that you're an alpha, you don't worry about the opinions of sheep. You kill the sheep. You kill the sheep. So it is what it is. Where is everybody watching from tonight? Now, Tyler Townsend, I got his hat that he made is right here in the studio. Tyler, I've been wearing that thing everywhere. People want more. The people want more. Might need to buy like 100 from you or something and just hand them out to people. But Tyler Townsend's in the house from the 318-31 Great. Where is everyone listening to from tonight? Christian says, who cares about baseball? Let's go to football. Well, we're not going to football when you deem it. You can come back at the end of the show or you can leave. You're not going to dictate what we talk about on this show because we care about baseball on the show and we're going to talk about it. Alex says, hello, Blake, watching from Corpus Christi, Texas. Originally the 318-31 Great. Good to have you in here. Ed O, Nuts Bus Driver says, go Tigers. Good to see Ed O in here. You know that we're gearing up for football when Ed O's in the house. And Ed O's not wrong. Tonight at the end of the show, we are going to be talking about football as the boys reported some things we need to discuss about that. Some guys that were fully cleared to go and that are. Caleb Falk, Blake, after the games this past weekend, do you have any concerns on the bullpen? Newt Shores Myers had walk issues after recent success. Cowan, too. He says, I think Jay keeps Evans in the rotation after his performance. Yeah, Jay doesn't have a choice. Mike doesn't have a choice. Mike is in Norfolk, Nebraska. It's funny, Mike, we just got done talking about the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Rufino and Joe Show, our National College Football Show. You know, it's so funny. Let me tell you what's so funny. So during the entire offseason, all I do is talk about college football. Now, some of you don't stay in touch with it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But I don't know a lot of you that are breaking it down right now. I do that 24/7, 365. And tomorrow morning, I'm firing off a tweet to Matt Rule, the Nebraska head coach. This man out here bitching about 8 and 9 conference games when he has the easiest schedule in the Big Ten. If I'm an LSU fan, I 1,000% would play Nebraska's schedule next year. Guys, you'd be at worst 11-1. At worst 11-1. Big Ten teams, Big Ten commissioners, Big Ten everybody saying the SEC doesn't play a tough schedule. Get out of my face with that shit. Get out of my face. Paul Wilcox says, damn right, baseball. Yeah, we're talking baseball. If you don't like it, leave. Because I promise you we're going to be talking about it here tonight. Paul Decker is in the 504. Good to have you in here. Bob says, watching from Fort Worth, Texas. You know, I got some barbecue out in Fort Worth, Texas not too long ago. Some good shit. Lewis is in San Antonio, Texas. Go Tigers. Good to have you in here. Paul does say he's LSU super ready. I am too. I am glad that I am very, very glad that baseball is not over. I am not ready to go to full football mode yet. Dale Broussard says, have we made contact with Ace Reese's agent yet? I'm sure we have. I'm sure we have. I'm sure before tonight. Now, there was a fake account that came out there and said that Justin LeBron had entered the Justin LeBron, the shortstop at Bama, the number 1 overall prospect in next year's draft. Listen, man, beware of fake baseball transfer portal season. I would take Justin LeBron too. I 1,000% would take Justin LeBron too. Because, and Jay said last night, side tangent. Jay Johnson said last night that he's going to be very deliberate about what he does in the portal this year. That should tell you what he feels about his upcoming freshman class and his team. You do bring in Simpson, the third baseman from High Point. That is a big point there. I do think that if Ethan Fry comes back, maybe you work with him on playing first base. Let's see if he does. Let's see if he doesn't. I don't know. Stephen Milam comes back at short. Kate Aaronbeatty's behind the plate. Maybe Tanner Reeves at second. Curiel and Brown in the outfield, and then you got to find something else. Maybe you have another freshman that's going to be coming. But I do think that they'll be selective. I think what Jay's saying here is we think that we're going to have a good roster. If we're going to go out and spend a crap load of money, we're going to go try to get some superstars. And I think it's the right way to go. So if Ace Reese comes, you can move Simpson to first base, maybe even ask Ace Reese to do it. Do whatever you want to do. But Justin LeBron enters that hole, I'm going to get him too. I'm spending all the money I can. Get $1 million and you'll get both of them. You'll get both of them. And if you spend them, you'll get damn close. Maybe go up to $1.2 million. Shit, go to Gordon. Say, Gordon, I need $1.2 million. This nonchalantly, I need $1.2 million today, right now. I need $1.2 million right here. I need these two dudes. So no, we don't have like anything official on Ace Reese, but we'll see. We'll see. Paul Wilcox says, Blake, what's your take and breakdown on this West Virginia baseball team? And I'm so glad you asked. So when we come back, we're going to break down the regional, talk about the big bullet points of recapping this regional. After that, we're going to talk about West Virginia. We're not going to do a deep dive on them, but when we do come back, we are going to talk about West Virginia. And guys, literally to your point, literally on this show a week ago, I picked West Virginia to come out of that regional, and they did. All that being said, they're a good club, man. They're a really, really damn good team. So you're in for a dogfight this weekend. We'll break that down as well. LSU football team does report today, or did report this week, excuse me, not today. Reported yesterday some guys that have been cleared, some things that we're hearing, guys who had kind of maybe a little bit of a month off here. They come back. We need to talk about some things, so we'll get to that at the end here. So everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we break down and recap the regional. We talk about West Virginia baseball next. Stay with us.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com. air.com, where your comfort is their top priority.
We're back.
All right. So, in dramatic fashion, last night, the LSU baseball Tigers do win their regional. And I know what you're going to say, Blake. I have worries. I have concerns. And listen, you get into this part of the season, you battle a team like Little Rock, and it happens the way that it happens. You're always going to have concerns. I have the same concerns as you because you want to make a massive push. You want to make a deep push. You want to go to Omaha. And you are 2 wins away from doing that. For me, and I told you in the beginning of the season, for me, you can have a different idea and plan about what your ultimate goal for this team should be. My internal team was, hey, make it Omaha. That's where I think that you should be. You were too talented and too good not to make it to Omaha. You're 2 wins away from doing that. Coming off a regional where in the first 2 games, guys, quite frankly, you dominated behind Anthony Einson and Cade Anderson. You just absolutely blew out DBU. You don't allow a run in 2 games. And for whatever it's worth, it felt like that you were just going to absolutely blow through this regional. And I actually don't mind what the 11.7 guys said. It's like, hey, man, this Baton Rouge regional has been kind of a dud. They're just blowing everybody out. Until you got to Little Rock there at the end. So the first half of the regional, behind Cade Anderson and Anthony Einson, guys, you flat out dominated an opponent. Then you turn around to the last 2 games, which one of them you win, by the way, but it came with some theatrics. It came with some very high drama and high drama situations. Luis Hernandez having to go yard twice. Ethan Fry having to go yard. Jared Jones having to go yard for you to be able to win it. Well, you did that. You did do that. The thing that I want to focus on is 2 main things here. Guys, I still fully believe, 100% fully believe that behind the 2-game system of having Cade Anderson and Anthony Einson, with those 2 guys at the play, or those 2 guys on the mound, you're more than likely not going to find a better 1-2 punch in the entire country. You are more than dangerous, guys. You might be the best team in the country when those guys are on the mound. Now, the bullpen can be of massive concern because if you're in a situation where, let's say Cade Anderson goes 7 innings, well, who are you going to? Say you're in a 5-3 ball game, who are you going to go to? And those might be conversations that we need to have. Do you go to Case and Evans? Do you go to Case and Evans and say, hey, man, to win game 1, we need 6 or 9 outs? Do you do that? Because he is going to be your best arm out of the pen. Now, could there be a situation where you're blowing a team out and you just need to throw strikes and get outs? Let them make contact. Maybe they get a run or 2, but you're up 3, 4, 5, 6 runs, and you have enough to be able to just get some arms out there, and you're not in a critical do-or-die situation. It's a tale of 2 halves, where in the first part of this regional, guys, you blew out DBU, and let's call it what it is. You blew out Little Rock in game 1. You annihilated them. You allowed no runs, hardly any hits, and guys, you won 19-0 against those 2 opponents in the first 2 games. The second half is you losing a game because you just cannot throw strikes, and then you turn around and the same ordeal happens, and then you're having to battle back to win it. The interesting thing here is this for me. Guys, what happens if you take those 2 innings away? The 2 innings of being the 3rd inning in the second game that you had against Little Rock, where you just allowed a shitload of walks. Chase Shores walked 3 in a row. You give up a hit. And in the beginning of that, you give up a bomb to Cano, and things are just looking horrendous. You can't get out of your own way. You just cannot get out of your own way. What is that going to be? If you do that again against a better opponent in West Virginia, guys, you're not going to win this. You're not going to win the Super Regional if you have innings like you did in the 3rd inning 2 nights ago and in the 2nd inning that you had last night with Zach Cowan. Not going to happen. One thing that we saw around the country this weekend, too, is that the strike zone really got small in critical moments. Guys, it was a major league strike zone, if we're being honest. You want to know why that I didn't really bitch about it all weekend? Guys, how many times were we tweeting, at least I was tweeting, during the entire weekend of baseball all day long? My entire account is talking about baseball all day long, from 12 p.m. all the way into the LSU game there at the end. Guys, the strike zone was small everywhere. Everywhere. It's like the NCAA told them to be very strict. Guys, you cannot melt down when you don't get a strike like when you're like Chase Shores. Zach Cowan, this is the first time at least when he got rocked, he's finding the strike zone. He's not allowing walks. This is a new development for Zach Cowan, who might mentally be in his head a little bit. But it certainly is a tale of 2 halves. What happens if you take those 2 innings away? Now, offensively, it's not like you were being a complete juggernaut. And I do think last night, guys, you were just pissing all over the ball. Some of those they caught. How many times last night did you hit a ball in the center field and that bitch was touched? I mean, just touched. If you are able to throw strikes, and it's a big if, and you're around the strike zone and you let your defense play behind you, I just think that, guys, going in the Super, I favor how you are and what you can do in a 2-game sample size. Again, I'm running on the backs of Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, without a doubt. Your bullpen has got to come up big and throw strikes. And again, I ask you, on a Tuesday at 7:35 p.m. Central Standard Time, when we're talking about this, if Cade Anderson goes 7 innings and you're up 5-4, who are you going to? Who is your arm that you're coming out of the pen with in game 1? Do you save a guy like Casey Evans for game 2? And you might have to. And then you have a situation where game 3 is do or die. And everybody's on the chopping block. Maybe besides Anthony Ianson. Everybody will be on the chopping block. It's definitely a conversation that Jay's going to have with himself. But those 2 innings that you had were some of the worst innings from a pitching performance that I've seen you had all year. Not being able to find the zone is a massive problem. Guys, I don't really remember innings where you're just walking dudes that bad. It has not been that bad all season. But the strike zone got smaller, that you got squeezed a little bit, and you didn't get some of the favorable calls. And when that did not go your way, you could not respond. You're like, man, that's been a strike all year. It's been a strike all year. Now that you have this regional under your system, you got to know now what you got to do. For me, if you take those 2 innings away, I think that you win in 3 games. I still think that you beat Little Rock because I don't think that they score. because they got 2 hits down the stretch. You just kept walking them. And then you let Cano get a big hit. I mean, guys, you're legitimately walking in runs. You're having 20 pitch innings, and you haven't even allowed a hit yet. 25 pitch innings, and you haven't allowed a hit. Better find the strike zone, and you better find it quickly. Because if you don't, West Virginia is going to come into Baton Rouge and beat you. Look, we ended the second game against Little Rock. So Sunday's game, we ended it by saying Game 7 situations every single time in all of sports breeds legends. It breeds legends. Guys, I ask you this today. Is Luis Hernandez, did he build on his LSU legacy last night? Did Ethan Fry? Because Ethan Fry certainly did. Did Anthony Ianson? Starting game 1 and coming back on a Monday and saying, I'm going to get that shit. Jay Johnson saying in the postgame last night that when the game was close, he looked over at Anthony Ianson and just looked at him, and he had told him, like, hey, we're starting you game 1. And if we have a situation on Monday where we got to bring you in, you're going in. And he said, bet. And which leads me to this. You know, Jay gets criticized about a lot of things. Having the foresight to do what he did last night with Anthony Ianson, pitching to both him and Cade Anderson in the SEC tournament, starting Anthony Ianson on a Friday and saying, I think he's better than Cade Anderson at responding and rebounding. And if we needed him to come out and close the game, he could do it. And guys, he did. Foresight from a brilliant head coach in a brilliant situation. But Anthony Ianson for sure. Did Cade Anderson's legacy drive and rise this weekend? And last but not least, did Bear Jones? Because, guys, well, Dan Curiel's is already sky high. His did too. Poetic justice. Outright poetic justice for the Bear. When you go into the postseason in a Game 7 situation, do or die or go home, adversity being down 5-1. Jay Johnson was right in his postgame last night when he said character won this series. And he's not joking. I know he's not joking. When Jay comes out here and says, last night was one of the biggest wins in my entire career. Blake, his entire career, it's against a losing team. No. His team could have folded last night. They could have backed off. They could have said, enough is enough. They could have backed off and lost this damn regional. But a guy that wants to be here, and Ethan Fry, carried you until the other guys were able to find it and get back on board. Luis Hernandez. Gus, this might be the last time Luis Hernandez plays baseball. He's definitely, I think he definitely gets a shot in single A, high A, or double A, but this could be it for him at a high level. How much did it mean for him? You're not perfect. You're not. But one thing is for sure. The one thing that I carry into this series after that regional would be this. To this super regional would be this. I vehemently feel that when your back was against the wall, I'm glad that your team responded. Doesn't mean that you can do that against West Virginia. Doesn't mean that they're not going to win it, because they can. But, man, you stared in the face a situation almost identical to what you faced a year ago. Guys, if you win the North Carolina Regional, you're hosting West Virginia in the box. The opponent did change. The opponent changed. You placed Little Rock and not North Carolina. But one thing did massively change too. You were able to overcome because you got a lead on North Carolina and they had to walk it off on you. They walked you off a year ago. Listen, man. Character did win that game, and I'm glad about it. Now, the regionals, I said this last week, and a lot of you in the chat called me I was crazy. I do think it could be tougher to win a regional sometimes than a super regional. Now you're going into a series type situation. Guys, I just really feel very confident in Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. I really do. What they can deliver for you. How do you roll this and dice it out of the pen is up to Jay Johnson. I'm just saying this. I hope that Cade Anderson gets me in a situation where he can throw 7 innings. I bring in Case and Evans, hope he throws 50 pitches and gets out of it and can come back in a game 3 if I absolutely needed him to. That's what I would do. It's 1,000% I would do. If you're beating the shit out of West Virginia on a Friday, on a Saturday, because this is a Saturday, Sunday, Monday series, if that is the situation, and you're winning 7-2, 7-3, whatever it is, I'm bringing in Shores, Cowan, and those guys, Newt. I'm bringing them in because at least you know that you can get some innings and try to get some innings out of them. Because you have your 3-headed monster. Your 3-headed monster on the mound is Anderson, Ianson, and Evans. After what we saw, it could be very, very, very dangerous for most teams. So, tale of two halves, man. Tale of two halves. You can't walk teams. That's how bad teams beat you. Now, last but not least, before we talk about West Virginia, there have been instances when you've been in a little bit of a slump. Bear Jones, more into that. Guys, I think there's going to be some interesting things that happen this week. I do see some more shakeup coming. In that shakeup, let's see how they respond. Did Bear Jones find it last night? We'll see. He had a 2-hit performance, guys. We'll see. Did strike out twice. Let's see if he can find it. Offensively, you got to do some better things down the stretch. But it's very difficult for me to get on an offense holistically when you average 8.25 runs in this regional. Guys, LSU averaged 8.5 runs this regional. That should be able to win you any game that you have. Any game that you have. Might not be the way that you would do it, but 8.5 runs in that regional, if I told you that, you'd say maybe not as much as we would like. You would probably like to be 9, 10 in a regional, but 8.5 is good, is damn good enough. So we'll see. All right. You know what? Let me do this. I got some bills I need to pay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to come back after this. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk and preview West Virginia. What I think about them, what they've been this season in their 44-14 record, 19-9, by the way, in the Big 12. Really good stuff by them. So we're going to come back, talk West Virginia, and preview and look into the Supers. In that, to end out the show, we're going to talk about the guys reporting, the football team reporting. Guys, I know we're still talking baseball a lot here, and we should be, but the real truth is football is right around the corner, and we need to talk about that as well. So let me get to this quick break. When we come back, we're going to discuss that next. Stay with us. Hey, Southwest Louisiana, are you ready to gear up for your next outdoor adventure or tackle that next big job on the farm? Then head on over to Henderson Tractors, Boats, and Power Sports. At Henderson and Lake Charles, they've got everything you need under one massive 30,000-square-foot indoor showroom. Kubota tractors and mowers to power through the toughest tasks. Polaris off-road bikes and side-by-sides to conquer any trail. And tracker boats with brands like Ranger, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Regency pontoons for a day out on the water. Whether you're a farmer or a hunter or just someone who loves the great outdoors, Henderson has what you need to get the job done and have fun while doing it. Browse their new and used inventory over at their website, hendersonimplement.com. That's hendersonimplement.com. Or give them a call today at 337-436-4366. That's 337-436-4366. Or go see them over in Lake Charles on the corner of East McNee Street and Highway 14. Remember, if you need a tractor, go to Henderson. Need a boat, go to Henderson. Or if you need an ATV or side-by-side, you know where to go. Henderson. Just let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by. Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick. I got to say this. Kevin O'Sullivan is going through the ringer right now. I'm seeing this on Twitter at the current moment. Guys, there's always multiple sides to a story. Always multiple sides to the story. The Coastal Carolina head coach calling out Kevin O'Sullivan. Kevin O'Sullivan can be a douche. You know that, and I know that. I'm just telling you, there's multiple sides to a story. So, I mean, here's the question that I don't think is getting answered in the Kevin O'Sullivan drama. In case you missed it, head coach of Florida, Kevin O'Sullivan, went off on Coastal Carolina officials. Guys, he went off because they were lying to him. And they try to do Florida dirty. There's always two sides to the story. I think he can be a douchebag between you and I. But just because someone can be a douchebag doesn't mean somebody doesn't try to do or somebody doesn't do something bad to them. All I'm going to say here, man. That's all I'm going to say. All right. LSU will face West Virginia in the Super Regionals right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's always crazy to me how sports always finds a way to replicate itself. We talked about this a minute ago, but just to get back to it. Last year, if LSU would have won the North Carolina Regional, they were facing West Virginia in the box. This year, they got West Virginia, well, in the box. A lot of different situations. You're a far better team than you were a year ago. Brought in some guys from the portal like Luis Hernandez and Danny Dickinson and Anthony Ianson. You had development from guys like Cade Anderson. Well, and I'd even say Ethan Fry to a very, very high degree. And Jake Brown has become an everyday starter and adding guys like Chris Stanfield as well. Guys, when you go into a series with West Virginia, this is how I would put it and I would say it. They're a really good team. They're a very good – Blake, it's West Virginia. No, they're a very good team. There are no flukes in this Super Regional. The teams that are there did it because they beat and dominated, in some instances, some really good teams. Guys, West Virginia, we were tweeting during the entire Clemson regional. I personally did not miss hardly a game, if any, well, at least I remember me being out of half of one of the Kentucky games. But even with that, we watched a lot of it, went back today and watched a lot of their games for West Virginia. Guys, the reason that I previewed and picked in the beginning of the regional for them to come out of it was for one reason and one reason only. They do everything really well. There's not necessarily an area where they're like horrific. Got a little pop, got a little power. Guys, they can run. And they're going to run. Their starting lineup has 104 stolen bases on the season. Guys, they're going to take off. They're going to take a lot of pitches. They're going to want to get on base. They're going to want to play small ball. And they're going to get a guy on second and try to come up with a base hit to get the guy home. They play the game as fundamentally sound as a team out there. Now, they do have their issues. But when I look at this team and a guy that leads off like Skylar King, he's got 59 hits on the season, hitting 300 with 11 extra base hits. Oh, and by the way, 3 bombs, 30 RBIs, 18 stolen bases. Guy can pick him up and put him down. Logan Savoy, who's hitting 289. They're 3-hole hitter, however they're going to put him. 58 hits on the season, 13 extra base hits with 8 long balls. Chase Reinhart, 317, 60 hits on the season, 21 extra base hits. Very massive with 8 long balls. And not to mention, or not to leave out, Kyle West, who's arguably their best power hitter, hitting 347 with 60 hits, 10 home runs, and 36 RBIs. Guys, they will swing it. And if you are not in and around that strike zone, they will take a lot of pitches. They have a really unique combination of power with a very unique combination of playing with guys that just want to drive the ball right back up the middle and get on base and get moving. I was thinking about this a little bit. The last time that I remember clearly facing a team like this in a regional, now Kentucky plays a little bit more chaotic ball than what West Virginia does. Guys, they're kind of the same opponent in a lot of ways. Remember that team a couple of years ago, not last year's team, but 2 years ago, didn't have a guy with a lot of home runs, didn't have a guy that was going to hit for a tremendous amount of power. They can run the ball out of the park. Don't get what I'm saying twisted. But it's not like Bear Jones is coming up there with 20-plus home runs, and you're like, oh, shit. Here comes that big son bitch. It's not like Ethan Fry's coming up there and be like, oh, shit. Here comes the Rose Pine Rocket. We're not saying that. They can do it, but, guys, they just do everything fundamentally well. The one thing that I thought about this series for me was in every critical situation at the plate, every single one of them in this regional, when they needed the big hit, they got it. They got it. Kentucky took them to the brink, and they scored a lot of runs on West Virginia in the last 2 games. So we'll talk about their bullpen. And if Kentucky can do it, I surely feel like you can too. But you have what might be the best 1-2 in the country, bar none. But West Virginia this season has not seen a duo, and I don't know if they've seen a pitcher like Cade Anderson. They haven't. They go into the Clemson Regional. Sounds good. Nobody like Cade Anderson or Anthony Ianson. Nothing like that. But I felt as if the entire time, and looking at them through the season, every single moment that they had to answer, they did answer. And there's something to be said about that. One thing is for sure, too. When they're not running the ball out of the ballpark and they have a feel, like for Cade Anderson, if you allow walk, guys, this entire lineup's going to square around. Or they're going to give the ability to square around. They're going to hit and run on you. They're going to do everything humanly possible with a team that does not necessarily have the amount of talent that you do, but they play their style of ball very well. Very well. They out-Kentuckied Kentucky. And if you've watched baseball in the last couple of seasons, Kentucky's not been bad. Guys, they had over 20 wins in the SEC last year. They faced you in the Super Regional. They've been a pretty solid program, and they're a win away. They're a run away from coming back to the box in the Super Regional. I think Nick Mangione's doing a really good job there. But with guys like Sam White, guys like Kyle West, guys like Chase Reinhardt, guys, they can hit it and they can touch it. And they're going to play small ball, and they will play a little bit of small ball with everybody. They try to make the right fundamental play every given moment at the plate. I do think they're dangerous. And more than dangerous, for me, they're just scrappy. And a scrappy team that does everything right and plays fundamentally sound and right in baseball is very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. The catalyst in all of that is, for me, humbly, when I look at West Virginia, guys, you have the guy who's number 1 in the country in strikeouts and Cade Anderson, and the guy that's number 3. I am going to be very intrigued to see what the matchup is like with those two guys versus this lineup. Because I think it's an intriguing one, and what makes sports very great. They have 5 guys hitting over 300 in their lineup. But, guys, all of them are hovering around that 280 to 300 mark. They're really solid 1 through 9. And I think that is what's made them more dangerous than anything. We'll talk about this more in the deep dive tomorrow. Cade Anderson's struggle this season has been the long ball and giving up the long ball. I know that Kyle West has 10 bombs. I know that Reinhardt has 8, because they're just not a team that's going to run the ball out of the ballpark. They're going to have to single and double him to death, and he just doesn't allow that. Cade just doesn't really allow that. It's going to be an interesting sight to behold to see how this team responds. We'll talk about some of the things that I've seen from West Virginia throughout the season tomorrow, but going into it and talking about it and them as a team, don't look down on them. They're solid, and they can come in here and win. I just think in a 2-game sample size, and really if you go Case and Evans in that involved, I just think that you have the pitching staff that can overcome them. I really do. Now, here's the interesting conversation that we need to have, because it's very easy for me to run out here and say, hey, man, Cade Anderson gives you 6 innings or 7 innings. You run out Case and Evans and you lock it down, you win game 1. Anthony Einstein replicates some of the same. Maybe Chase Shores and others can lock it down. You win, and you go to Omaha. In theory, that's great. In a lot of theory, that's really good. Guys, the real matchup here this weekend is what West Virginia is bringing on the mound versus what you're going to be able to do at the plate. They have some guys at the top end of their rotation, and Griffin Kern and Jack Kersanas. Both of them are very talented. When you look at them from their 1-2, it's not the best that you've seen all year. It's not the best that you would see all year if you get back to facing a team like Oklahoma or Tennessee or whatever. Guys, they're going to come in here and throw a shitload of strikes. The goal for you at the plate, and what has been West Virginia's biggest weak point all season, you got to get to the bullpen quickly. And I know that should be the game plan every single time. But, guys, I saw West Virginia win this weekend. I saw their bullpen crumble. If you can replicate some of the things that Kentucky did in the regional, that even Clemson did in the regional, you can have some success. But if you're allowing them easy, quick outs, they're going to go for a while, and they have some of the same issues that you do from a bullpen standpoint, but theirs is far worse than yours. Saturday, I am trying to run the pitch count up as high as humanly possible. Because the earlier that you get to that pen, the better chances for me that I think that you're going to win this regional, this super regional. They do have a lot of guys like Reese Bassinger, who's got 29 appearances. You're going to see him a lot this weekend. Got a 4.28 ERA. You got you got Ben Hudson. You got Big McDonough. They got a lot of guys that hover around that 4-ish ERA, and they eat up a lot of appearances. The thing about LSU that scares me is even though their issues, meaning West Virginia has been their bullpen, what has been, I feel like at times LSU's issue is they don't really get things going until the second time through a lineup against a guy. That does scare me. But guys, I will say this until I'm blue in the face, and I'll say it a lot tomorrow when we do a really, really big deep dive on West Virginia. There is not one area, not one, other than approach at the plate, which is a massive one, outside of me liking the West Virginia's game plan and approach more than I like yours at the plate in moments. I don't think they have a better staff than you. I don't think they have a better bullpen than you. I don't think that they have more power than you. I don't think they hit for contact better than you. I think that you're just overall the more talented team by far and in large. That does not win you baseball games. It doesn't win you baseball games because if it did, Texas A&M would still be in the playoff. I think you're going to win this. It's going to come with its challenges. If you're giving me LSU in a 3-game series versus anybody at home, guys, I'm taking them. You've faced great opponents like Arkansas in here, and you've taken it from them with a better roster, a team that could really run the ball out of the ballpark. And if Ianson and if Anderson could do that to them and continue on this hot streak, I think they can do it for West Virginia. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing that you got to be on point for West Virginia. If there's anything that you hear and I say in this show about them, they want to put all the pressure on you to make mistakes. If they walk, they're going to bunt. If they're first and third, they're going to do a delayed steal. They're going to do everything to make sure that you make the right play. And if you're not locked in and focused, if you don't have situational awareness and you're lacking in focus for any minute, they will beat you. They will beat you. Guys, they did a double steal hit and run and a line drive into left field. They're very aggressive on the base paths. You got to come up firing if you're in the outfield. They will run for days. They are not scared to try to trade it out for an extra base. They're not. They are not. Guys, that's why they got 44 wins on the season. 44. They're a dangerous club, man, and a very dangerous team. And we'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow. All right. Let's get to a couple comments, then we'll talk some football here. Jack Pringles says, is Jay Johnson as good as he appears? Deep strategy guy. He's definitely a deep strategy guy. Here's the thing. Jay Johnson is 2 wins away from going back to Omaha. In that, Jazz Chisholm just went yard. His first game back. How about that? And I think Jay's biggest issue from people has been is that he overmanages and he overthinks things. He is a very deep thinker, and it's gotten him burned sometimes. I'm going to be interested to see what he does this year. Paul Wilcox says, so do we take more of the plate? I think you should take more of the plate. They're going to throw strikes. They're going to try to throw a lot of shit at you at the plate too. They come in here not intimidated by anybody. They certainly didn't go in that regional intimidated by anybody. They're not going to come in here and be intimidated by you. They're just not, man. They're too good of a team. They've won too many games. They think they're one of the best teams in the country, and guys, they might be. They very well may be. They got a starting pitcher we'll talk about tomorrow coming out with a full Manchu, and he's going to throw 96. And here's the thing, man. They're going to talk shit. They don't give a shit what you think. And you know what? You got to answer that same exact momentum. Answer it. Because if you do, and when you do, they're going to break. I'm telling you, they're going to break. David Woodard, I see your comment. I'm not putting that comment up here. Here's what I'd say. Anybody that thinks that this is a walkthrough is an idiot. There's no walkthroughs, man. Doesn't mean that you don't win both games with Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. If that's what you want to say is a walkthrough, then fine. I would need to know more context. But to think that West Virginia is not a good team makes you look very ill-informed. Guys, people don't do their research, man. They act like they do, but they just don't. Tyler Townsend says, am I the only one that thinks this Auburn team is going to be tough to beat? No, you're not. Tyler, on SEC Unfiltered, on our show, To Your Point, I say our show, but I went on with Chris Phillips and said the same thing a month ago. They're a talented team. Here's the truth, Tyler. Here's the bona fide truth. The most talented teams are still in it. From a pure talent standpoint, let's look at them. I don't think Texas was the most one of the top talented teams outside of A&M. North Carolina, Arkansas, Texas is still in it. Tennessee, Florida State, that's 6. I think those 6 teams are the most talented teams in college baseball throughout the entire season. UNC's dangerous. You throw Auburn in there, yeah, Auburn can be dangerous too. Guys, everybody wants to talk about chalk. Guys, the chalk is going to play itself out. Y'all go ahead and watch. Dawson says, I saw them chirping a lot against Clemson. Brother, they got in Clemson's head, and they owned them. Good on Kentucky. They could not do that to Kentucky. Mingione plays a style where you can't do that because they're going to talk shit too. Jordan says that Arkansas, Tennessee is going to be very interesting. That is, if College Game Day did college baseball, they would be at they'd be in Fayetteville, and they should be. They should be. So, yeah, I agree there. I agree. It's going to be a fun super regional. We'll talk a lot more about them tomorrow. Man, I did shoulders today for a workout. Your boy getting back on the diet. Man, I'm sore. I am very sore. Did shoulders today. Whew, I'm in pain. Got to endure the pain. All right, before we get out of here, let's get to some football stuff. So, LSU football reported yesterday in their first day back from a month, I don't want to say hiatus, but from a month away of being reported and locked in and non-mandatory. Couple of notes I want to make here. Number one, Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins are a go. They will be a go. They need to be a go. Guys, this summer is more critical than we know. You and I have agreed, or a lot of you have disagreed with my thoughts about this team. And that's okay. Here's one thing that we all are going to agree on. It's a massive year in the weight room for Jake Flynn and company. Guys, national championships, even though they're not completely won right now, I feel like they're won in January and February. Playoff runs are built right now. And this team has got to find a leader. This team has got to find dudes. LSU spent a lot of money in the portal to go and get talented human beings. You're going to get some of these players that were injured back and that missed spring. Jacoby and Guillory being back, Harold Perkins being back, Which being back, and that is a very big deal. But guys, there is not, in my humble opinion, been a more do-or-die season for Brian Kelly than this one. What are you going to say if he misses a playoff again? In the chat, all of you in the chat, tell me, what if Brian Kelly and company missed the playoffs this year, what is your thought going to be? Now, they very well may not. Very well may not. It starts now. It starts now. I don't really like that you kind of completely took a month off there, but it is what it is. If you're going to win a playoff, if you're going to go to the playoffs, if you're going to win a national championship, there's got to be buzz that starts coming out of camp like in 2 weeks. Like, hey man, DJ Chester, all right. Okay, I'm just telling you. How quickly can this team come together? Guys, you brought in a lot of portal players. And defensively, I have a lot of faith in you. But man, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Guys, this is it. This is it. I'm telling you right now, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. Keep allowing those teams to run on you. Keep allowing teams to run on you at 250 yards per SEC laws. Keep turning the ball over. Keep missing assignments. Keep being out of alignment. Guys, some of this shit's fundamental. That happens again, you're going to be right back where you were. 8-4, 9-3, right out of the playoffs. You're going to be right back where you were. You better be ready, man. It starts now. I don't want to hear any – listen, there's been a lot made of this team that they can make a run. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. That national media hype is bullshit, and y'all know it. Control what you can control, and when you find yourself there, great. Don't put in the work. Now, I did hear something this week that I enjoyably loved hearing. Your quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, getting some players together, and they're throwing. That entire unit with skill players, with tight ends and wide receivers, with Garrett Nussmeier, have to all be together and be one. If there is separation and favorites being played, you're not going anywhere. I do think that was a problem a season ago. I think you locked into too many people that you shouldn't have been locked into, and it got you bitten in the ass. Offensively, you better find it. You better find it. All right. We're out of here. Man, you know what? Y'all know what this makes, huh? Y'all know we've gone and done a show all last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll do one Tuesday. We'll do one Wednesday. We'll do one Thursday. How many days now? 11 straight show days. Then we're going to take off Friday, and we'll be back Saturday and Sunday. I might need me a little break, but it's all in glory, and we love it. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace.